What am I trying to do? If you can't answer that, you'll follow up. And that isn't necessarily aberration. I mean, it's aberration in a sense, but it isn't necessarily the case. It's just simply creating something that you don't want to really create. And that's a sort of an analytical thing. So you could say that an admin scale is a sort of an analytical approach to living and to reducing case. And he also talks about goals here, the idea of having a broad overall theta goal. He says there's no goal vast enough to absorb your total capabilities because your total capabilities are so vast that they make goals. It's not that you're the effect of your goals, because what I find when I'm working this out with people, it sort of brings it into present time. Well, when something's in present time, you can decide to start, change, or stop it. You could discontinue it and create a new goal if you wanted to, but you're not sort of moving along a track of operating on some past goal that you've already created. It's something you can create in present time. You can change it, but most people go, yeah, wow, yeah, I'd love to do that. So it gives a future too. And he says any goal is better than none. And the start of goal is beingness, and the end of goal is havingness in this universe. But you don't have to set it up like that, he says. But then he talks about what's serious. He says what's serious is the unmaking of a game and not having a game. That's kind of serious, unless you are just willing to go clear on up, shoot the work straight on up to the top, into the beautiful serenity, and just be above beingness. See, above be do have. Straight on through. There might be spheres and areas on theta that you could then move across into that would be different than game areas. If there are, I don't know about them. And I know many areas which theta is operating in, and whether they know it or not, they're operating on the laws of games. One way or the other, they're operating within these laws. So basically an admin scale is sort of creating a game that you want to create. And and again here from the PDC, to cause things one must be cause. And the first requisite of cause is statement of intention or goal. The primary requisite to be cause is clear statement of what you're trying to do, and only when you clearly state it can you avoid being yourself an eventual effect. And that's how also a pan-determined theta goal keeps you out of the GPM track, and I'll go into that a little bit more. He says, what am I trying to do? If you can't answer that, you'll follow up. Most of being cause is stating the goal. Just working it out puts you at cause over it. A person's cause is motivated by future. Motivation's in the future. It's what do I want? What do we want? That's cause. And if it's interesting, it sort of pulls us forward to it. You're making the cause be motivated by something you want to have. And there are three kind of goals. There's beingness goals, doingness goals, and havingness goals. But already says that the havingness goals are the senior goals because they state the entire cycle of action. It's naming your product. The problem with having a beingness goal is it's an existence goal, and it's not there's no doingness or havingness stated. Any beingness leads to a doingness and havingness, but look, if you don't state it, it remains unstated and uncontrolled. It's like somebody says, well, my goal is to travel. Well, as long as your feet are moving, you're traveling. But maybe the real goal is to have adventure. But you don't really say that, so you don't really get it. At least you don't get it consistently. When you do get it, it's accidental. It's not conscious. In 808008, he says, the entire problem of the future is the problem of goals. I mean, usually you don't think of it this way, but when you ask somebody, what are your goals, you're really asking them, what kind of a future do you want to have? And again, if you name it and state it, it sort of controls what kind of future will exist for you. The second sentence is the entire problem of goals is the problem of possession. Well, again, it kind of goes back to the idea that it's what you want to have. Now, having, of course, is not limited to material possessions. In fact, material possessions really are sort of a harmonic on basic goals because people can have understanding. They can have love. They can have wisdom, they can have prosperity, they can have a lot of things that aren't necessarily physical objects. They can have a family, they can have friends. And it says the entire problem of possession is the problem of time. Now, it's another interesting thing about goals is you can call anything a goal. You could say, to go to the store and buy groceries is your goal. And it sort of fits the definition, but it's too short. The time in that is too short. It's not a real goal. It doesn't absorb your interest or attention. But the other side of that is you don't want to have unlimited goals that you never achieve. It's like if the only thing you have to do is one thing, you're not going to do it, because any game is better than no game. So the old saying, if you want to get something done, you give it to somebody who's busy. Well, because somebody who's busy doesn't have a scarcity of cycles to do, so he can get things done. He can end cycles because he's got more game to play. And you find often when a person will approach some sort of an idea that they have, like a target, but they don't ever get there. They'll whiz through a course and they'll spend 2 weeks on the last 3 items because they don't have something else to do after that. But if you've got things to do after that, then you can complete those cycles. So you want to have longer-term goals, sort of, in a way, unlimited or infinite goals. And then you want to have shorter targets and things like that you'd be able to accomplish and get done, and have the havingness of completing cycles. So that's 3 good sentences there. The entire problem of the future is a problem of goals. The entire problem of goals is a problem of possession. The entire problem of possession is the problem of time. Almost sounds like a Smokey Robinson song or something. So, it comes down to how do you work out what the goals are. And it's actually very simple. Comes down to the definition of happiness. He says, happiness is not an emotion. It is a word which states a condition, and the anatomy of that condition is interested. See, by definition, a person is interested in achieving the goals that they have set up for themselves to achieve. So, the corollary of that is the things you're interested in doing have something to do with your goals. See, people don't always know what their goals are, but they do know what they're interested in. So you can start there. He says, happiness, you could say, is the overcoming of not unknowable obstacles towards a known goal. Well, sometimes people trip over that unknowable, but all that really means is that at the beginning of any game, you're pan-determined, and you know everything about the game that you are embarking upon. You have a knowingness, and so you have to not know some part of the game and to put something over there that's uncontrolled and unknown. So it's not known, but it's not unknowable. You can know about it. In other words, wherever you find yourself in the game, if your game has been reduced down, you can penetrate those unknowns, or you can penetrate those barriers and know about them. And here's the thing, it's impossible. There's no such thing as one-way communication. It's impossible for anything to create an effect on you that you can't know about. I mean, that's why auditing works. So if something is affecting you, you can know about it. You can push your knowingness back up there and know about it. And that's how you can sort of unmock undesirable games, simply by knowing about what the games are. And that frees you up to play a higher tone game or a higher scale game. So what I do when I work with people is, first of all, you kind of lay it out what you're trying to do. Because as a being, each of the dynamics is a mock-up. The first dynamic is an identity mind-body package. Second dynamic is a family package. Third dynamic is a group package, and so on. The 7 dynamics that the 8th dynamic has. And what the 8th dynamic wants to do is to align those 7 dynamics with each other, because that's where the power of the being will manifest itself in the physical world.